press it every day, but I still never actually find the button. There you go. So yeah, I usually do a countdown, but I'll just jump straight into it. You know, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of Sit Down for Stand Up. I've got with me comedian Lewis from Bedford. How's it going, brother? We good?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. I mean, I'm from Stevenage. I live in Bedford. Please don't say I'm from Bedford. I'm not from Bedford.
You never say that to me because when I had Kai on, I called him a Scouser, and he was like, "I'm not Scouse.
Yeah,
He's always born in Scouse." So I did his title as Scouse comedian. So you knew that I'm now going to write Bedford's own.
yeah, yeah. I know you are. Yeah, yeah.
Got to give a
Oh,
little trolls in as we go along.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, when
Um,
I'm doing my
yeah, I
video
don't know.
edits at 1 in the
Bedford.
morning.
Yeah, true, true. I mean, got Castle Comedy's in Bedford, so maybe it's not bad, but it's not got a huge comedy scene here. So,
So do you have to travel sort of to find the gigs?
well, so obviously I started in April last year,
Mm.
and I was living in Stevenage, and yeah, most of it, first 6 months or so, is just open mic bringers in London. So,
Mm. I mean,
um,
I am against bringers, and they are the devil in London. I've even actually done a bit on my new open set is about bringing bringers because
yeah.
I mean, like, because one, I don't have any
So just to
friends.
clarify, the only people who know what bringers are other comedians. So the only place that set's going to work is an event where it's a bringer. Otherwise, no one's going to have a fucking clue what you're talking about, mate. So there's a
London,
slight irony there,
London.
isn't there?
I'm sorry. I do describe it first, but so
Oh, okay.
any listener who's not a comedian, a bringer gig
Yeah.
is a gig where you've got to bring someone along to get onto the stage,
Yeah.
and
Instead of bring your own beer, it's bring your own guest, isn't it?
bring your own guests. And well, my set's sort of like I'm going to try it out a couple of times before, but it's sort of like I've emailed, like messaged these events, and I've said like, look, I'm a drinker. If you're worried about money behind the bar, I will drink 10 pints. I will cover what three people will drink. And then like, and I'll do the other counter. Like, look, I'm fat. I'll even take up 2 seats if you want. But
It look. Alongside a couple of others, um, primarily Duncan Hart, Gary Knightley, we run a few gigs in Hertfordshire. Uh, there's others like Phono involved and Newtown. So Phono is Dean Harmer, Julie B, and then Caroline helped me set up Newtown. So we run a few gigs. You got GGK nights and stuff as well. And they're not bringers because they're in Hertfordshire. They're outside of London. We can generate our own audience. In London, I would say they're a necessary evil. How else are you getting an audience? I don't know the answer, by the way. I don't like bringers. I wouldn't advocate against them, but I understand why they have to do them. Do you know what I mean?
I,
It's
I do, but I'm on the fence on both sides. One, yes, they give you
mm,
stage time, but two, it do they are they needed then? From a comedic perspective, great to get stage time, but then if something has to fill its own, should natural selection come into place?
yeah, no, it should do, yeah, 100%. So I agree with you. But if there wasn't a comedy night every 50 yards, it would be difficult to get stage time. And if you've got a comedy night every 50, I don't know. Bringer events, look, it's a tough one, isn't it? You can argue all day, and I respect anybody that's putting stuff on and trying to put stuff on. But yeah, you can argue all day whether they're good or bad. I don't know how useful the feedback is. If you're an open mic person and you go to an event, which I mean we are, and it's four comics, four bringers. If you're shit or some of your jokes are shit, no one's going to tell you. It's
No.
just eight people telling each other how great they are, and I
Yeah.
don't get how useful that is.
Yeah. And
That's
also,
why that's why Mark Cox, Duncan Hart set up Hart's Comedy Workshop. So
mm,
we go and you sit there and you can do your bit and you can run through your material and your new stuff, and then you have seasoned pros, other open, all varying levels,
mm,
and they'll tell you whether it's good or bad. First one I went to, the main feedback was be better at comedy, mate. Like, just get better. But if you spend 6 months going to the same open mic, which is great, and you make good friends, and but it's just comics and bringers, it's just 8 people telling you you're great
Mm.
and you can't get better. What film is it where he goes, let's not start sucking each other off just yet? And that's what a bringer night can feel like. It's just like everybody telling each other how great they are. And I do get that positive encouragement is good. But if you want to improve,
Mm.
which I do, I would like to eventually make a career in comedy. It is no use people telling me I'm good if I'm not. I need to be criticized and told how to improve and told that is shit, that is shit, that is shit.
Mm.
Go away and work harder.
No,
Which is a little bit of a rant on bringers. Sorry about that, Dan.
I hold see with the bringer thing. I would so much prefer it say it's not a bringer, but it's a stayer, because there's no
Yeah,
more disheartening when you're on the second bill and half the crowd have left during the break because they've already performed.
yeah. But as you said, build an audience naturally. But again, these things are easy to say when we're sat chatting. Like running the country is easy to do when you ain't got to do it. You've just got to present the ideas in your living room or in the pub. Um, but there's some very good ones, and there's some not so good ones, and there's some very good promoters, and there's some not so good promoters. So
Oh, yeah,
it's
I'm not going to tarnish it all with the same brush, but like I said,
yeah.
it is a devil industry in London.
Oh
The
yeah.
industry's devil, and yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. So we've been doing comedy for just over a year. How many gigs would you say
Yeah.
you've done so far?
About 140.
Fucking hell! How many was that? About three a week, averaging out
Yeah, it was
three.
in three, 4 a week. And yeah, so we'll try and do that like this week. So it's Monday today, right? Yeah, Monday. So Wednesday. So tonight I'm doing through Hearts Comedy Workshop. I'm doing the part 2 of clowning workshop with oh god, this is gonna look bad. I, I keep calling him James Vanderbeek. His name's not James Vanderbeek. Um, Ben Vandervelde.
Okay, cool.
It's definitely not James Vanderbeek. It's Ben Vandervelde. So I'm doing that tonight. Wednesday, I'm at NCF in Nottingham. A lady called Helen runs that. Brilliant. And then Friday night, I'm at Piccadilly at the Stand Up Club. And Saturday night, I'm at Piccadilly at the Stand Up Club. So yeah, 3 gigs this week in workshop.
Okay, cool. How would you say, even in a year, your comedy has evolved?
So if you've seen him, so initially, my sets were I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness, so it was about how being raised as a Jehovah's Witness and leaving that affected how I dated, how I did everything else, and that's what my sets were about. And I thought they were quite funny.
I love
Nobody
your
else
not
did.
not joke. I think it's brilliant.
Oh yeah, yeah. People like that. People like that. Well, that's not mine, is it? It's my daughter's, so that's why people laugh. I didn't write it. And so, but then, so I've done about 30 gigs, and I'd write about different dating scenarios, and the premise of them was always that I'm an idiot. It was never that the other person was an idiot. Like I had one about how that I voice noted a deaf girl, um, like because I'm an idiot, not to be a dick. Like I'd forgotten that she was. No, I didn't forget she was deaf. I forgot deaf people can't hear voice notes. I just assumed that I don't know magic or whatever. And so the point of that joke was that I'm a fucking idiot. But they were coming across like I was punching down and like I was doing that, and I didn't realize it. And then so it was like, right, no, this has got to change because it isn't coming across like you're an idiot. It's coming across like you're taking the piss out of these people you've been on dates with. So it's like, right, because that can sometimes happen, can't it? So you write this joke and in your head, it looks that way, but whether it's because of your delivery or how you look or whatever, it's coming across like that. So there's people don't get it. So then after I've done about 30 gigs, just by chance, because I got fed up of going into London, we set up. So it was 4 of us at the time. A guy called George, Chris, Caroline, myself. We set up Newtown Comedy, and because I couldn't bother traveling to London, a guy called Duncan Hart applied. I think you got Duncan Hart on next week, haven't you?
I I was saying I do believe Newtown. I think we're in talks at the moment of getting him on.
Well, yes.
Yes, I have. Duncan
Okay, cool,
Hart.
cool.
Yeah,
So
yes,
because I
I
was
do.
talking to him this morning, and he was like,
I do. Yep, I've got him on.
"Yeah."
Yep, on the
So
29th.
So he's got background in TV. Been in and out of like one of the funniest people you'll ever meet. Um, and he can tell jokes. No, he and so he emails into this open mic thing that we set up, and he's got this long comedy CV. And I was like, well, this is clearly bullshit because why would he want to do this? So I didn't realize at the time he was trying to get back into it. So, but eventually we met up, and him and a guy called Mark Cox Mark Cox does open mic comedy podcast. Ooh,
Okay, yeah.
podcast rivals.
Yeah.
And they'd set up this workshop, this writing workshop. So I went down to there and got some very hurtful but valuable advice about my set and how terrible it was. So then decided to try and write some more topical and political current affairs stuff.
Yeah.
One, because it would make me write every day.
Okay.
Two, it's something slightly different. That other open micers not a huge amount of doing stuff like that. To make me try and stand out, and because I enjoy it, and I would like to be on Have I Got News for You one day. So there you go. That's why I did that. So then that evolved. So that's why I tend to write now, while still smattering in bits of personal upbringing and like the knock joke and comparing the Trinity to Destiny's Child and stuff like that. So
Okay. So when
yeah,
it comes to sort of contemporary jokes, surely like you have a time frame of how long you can do that set before you need to retire it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Which is annoying when you've got a good one. But this is again, so there's some stuff like when you're doing some pop culture bits or like, and it's like pseudo topical, right? So I don't know if you've heard. I do one about celebrities and attractiveness and stuff like that. Now you mentioned somebody that's been in the news for committing a murder,
Yeah.
and you mentioned a celebrity that's in the news currently, and all of a sudden that's topical. But I
Okay.
can keep that joke for as long as people are laughing and just change the celebrities.
Yes. Something's
But
always going to be relevant.
yeah, and I mean, my jokes about the Met. I don't know if you've heard. So I've got this one. I really like it. Just a silly one. Just as a racist and a murderer walk into a bar.
Yeah.
Landlord says, "Evening, officers," and I really like that joke.
Yeah. That's
And
quite good.
somebody said, "Well, what's going to happen if you can't use that anymore?" And I said, "Well, literally every week the Met do something against a woman, a person of color, a vulnerable person, themselves, a child. Like it's just whatever the opposite of a gift that keeps on giving. That's what the Met is." Um,
You're checking the news every day, hoping that a policeman's done
I
something
know,
wrong
yeah,
again,
I know,
and you're
mad, isn't it?
guaranteed
Yeah,
it.
come on, yeah, please, can you do something? Um, and then the Coldplay thing last week, um, stuff like that. So that joke, I wrote a joke about that, and the problem is, I wrote the joke Friday, maybe Thursday. I probably only got to deliver that joke 3 times because after this week it's dead because it's so. So when you've got stuff like that pseudo topical or stuff that's going on all the time, like the Met, you can just keep refreshing them. But then the one I wrote about the Coldplay thing was £700 for Oasis tickets seems like a lot of money
Hmm.
until you remember it's just cost that CEO 15 million to see Coldplay, which I really quite liked. But I've got about a week on that, so I will sometimes if it's going to burn through that quickly.
Yeah.
I quite often talk to. Do you know Don Biswas? Have you come across Don Biswas yet?
No, haven't.
Right, fantastic lefty political comic, real good friend of mine. Pro comic, and so I'll send them to him, and he'll go, "No, that's shit," or "That's all right," or he'll go, "That one's going to burn quickly, so put that one on socials." So if you can
Okay.
only do it for a week, put it on social straight away. Um,
Okay. So we'll get more traction. I mean, are you a fan of putting all your stuff online?
am I a fan of it, or do I do it? Which question are you asking?
I mean, yeah, they're both two sides.
Yeah. No, I would like to not put anything online because um I don't like putting videos of myself online because I've got shit hair and fat white bloke who's in his 40s. So it would be great not to. However, yes, you have to. Yes, it's cheesy. Yeah, basically, my socials are just an advert for comedy, which is annoying. It annoys the shit out of me. But that's the game. That's the
It's
game.
it's I'm not a fan of social media, but it is the necessary evil to get yourself out there.
Yeah. And I
So
think some people are very good at it. Um, some of us, like myself, are not so great. And everybody's got a different viewpoint. Some people think you shouldn't put your jokes on there, and that's fine. That's their opinion. And some people think you should, and that's fine, and that's their opinion as well. And I don't think there's a, but there probably is a formula because that's how it works. Algorithms, that's what they are, is formulas. But I don't think there's a formula that's definitely going to work.
no, 100%. And I do give props to the people who do get thousands and thousands of views. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
they,
how they did it? How?
yeah,
How? How?
I,
I'm like,
I,
that joke's not even very good. No,
yeah.
no, I don't say that. No,
Well,
no, I don't.
you could. Well, the one thing I was so shocked about when I got into comedy, because I've only been doing comedy 3 months, is I looked at the professionals, I looked at the people selling out theatres, and I thought, oh, like they're good. Some of them are, obviously the goats. Some of them are
Mm.
okay. So I was like, oh, circuit level. Oh, I'm probably going to smash it. The level of skill on the circuit is just phenomenal. Even in like the low entry,
Yeah,
fives, tens, they are phenomenal.
on the pro circuit, you mean?
No, not even on the pro circuit.
Yeah, yeah. The thing is, comedy is so subjective, isn't it?
Hmm.
So every time I think I've figured out what people are going to like, no,
Mhm.
don't.
No, I agree. Would you say
Um,
your favorite joke is your
it's
best joke?
just so. No.
Lost you a bit, Lewis.
Oh, my favourite joke doesn't always get my best response. No, not at all.
No.
No.
Okay, I
Um,
will. God.
so okay, so no is the answer. My favourite jokes to me. So my favourite joke that I've written is nowhere near my best joke. Doesn't get the best response at all.
Hmm.
So my favourite joke that I've written is, I don't know if you're aware. So growing up as a Jehovah's Witness is very anti-trans.
Okay.
Fusions, not people, of course. That is my favourite joke. It's a blood transfusion joke. It's a clever joke. It's a word joke. Dies on its arse because
Yeah.
people don't know the context or background.
Yeah.
My favourite joke. Um, uh, um, um, my second favorite joke splits the room. So I haven't done it for. I just did this bit about sexy murderers, and I'm not going to give the punchline away on here. But it's like if you grow up in a religion, you don't have celebrity crushes, you have murderer crushes. There are some sexy ones, like on Reddit, and I give a top three of sexy female murderers. Um, and I love that joke. But yeah, it either flies or dies, and it's nothing in between. But the best responses that I appear to be getting at the minute is raises a Jehovah's Witness, knock on the microphone. Sorry, old habits die hard.
Yeah. I love that one. Right.
I hate it. No, I don't hate it. That's not true. It's it's not clever. It's not taken ages to write. It's so silly. It's so stupid, and people like it. And I'm like, some jokes I've written are really intelligent, and you don't like them. This is a silly one. Why do you like it? Does that make any sense or not?
Yeah,
Um,
completely. Like sometimes you like the low hanging fruit every now
yeah,
and then. Like
yeah.
I'm not a big. I detest, but I love at the same time one line comedy. It's my guilty pleasure,
But
but
then you've
I
not
would
seen it
never
done
do it
properly.
myself.
You've not. Have you ever seen Chris Norton Walker?
I've had him on.
Yeah. Oh, of course you have. Brilliant.
He's
Absolutely
amazing.
brilliant.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
so
once you
good.
spelt his name right in the second edit of the release, by the way.
I did that at 1 o'clock in the morning, and it was just like, oh, but And then when I tried to get it fixed, Adobe wasn't working for 6 hours.
I
I said, look,
noticed it came off. I noticed it came off. Yeah, I did notice that.
yeah, but
I bet he was well happy about that, wasn't
it was the first message I got. But
he?
he
Yeah.
was absolutely top player. He gave me so much advice,
Yeah,
and he's linked
so
me up with a lot of
you know,
other
I said
comedians.
my first work. Oh, sorry. You know, I said my first workshop. The advice was given was be better at comedy. That was from
Yeah.
Chris Norton Walker. Yeah.
He was absolutely brilliant.
Uh,
And we've organised for me to send him some of my like fives and then my 10, and he will critique it for me. And he's just doing that just because he's a
oh,
caring
he will,
person.
and he will critique it. He will critique it. By the way, he won't be nice, but it will improve it.
But you don't want them to be nice. You know what I mean, you don't get into comedy to get, colded. You need the raw advice.
No.
And
Well, no.
yeah,
I think it depends. Some people just want to do it for that, and that's fine. You don't. If somebody doesn't, if somebody just wants to do it as a hobby now and then that's brilliant. Get out of comedy what you want. But if you want to improve and you want to stand a chance of playing better places, better venues, and earning a living from it, you got to learn your craft.
yeah, yeah. And it is a grueling process. It doesn't happen overnight, and you need to bomb to get better.
Yeah, and then you need help with writing. I mean, why do TV shows have writing teams? Because it's easier. So that, I know you posted on Facebook the other day about workshops, and Duncan will speak about them when he comes on. But stuff like that, whether it's the Hearts one that we go to, or I know Tony Fadder does one, good friend of mine. I know Denzel and Spikey Mike. I think it might be Spikey or not. Up in Nottingham, they do writing groups. You're not going to improve on your own. Everybody, no. even the likes, who the greatest, probably the best one-liner comic in the country at the minute, Gary Delaney. He's still got a writing team that he heads up. Even the best work with people. Even the best are humble enough to know that actually I need assistance to make myself better.
You can't do it alone. Which wholeheartedly agree. I mean,
No.
I've started the material.
Sorry, I go off on a bit of a tangent sometimes.
No,
Dan,
it's absolutely fine. Like the comedy since I've been on solo, I've got two mates now, like who are growing into the comedy world. I'll just go stereotypical. One's a Turkish female, and the other one's a black Muslim from Peckham. And I send them my material for a different approach that I wouldn't have thought of. And like, do you know what I mean? Like some material I can't do being a white overweight guy.
Tuber and someone else.
Pardon? So yeah, I send them the stuff.
So is it
like,
Tuba then? One of them
is what?
I know. So is it Tuba that runs Notorious? Is that the Turkish girl?
No, not her. A girl called Malike, and it's like, but then like, I had Muslim bits, so I was like, oh look, if you want to like take this joke, like you make it better. Like I can't say it, but you know what I mean? Like you have different perspectives, but like, do you feel like on stage there are certain things you should joke about, not joke about, and like like the persona you portray on stage is there a point joking about something because you haven't got an individual experience?
Yes and no. So you can say anything. You can get on stage and say whatever you like, and the crowd can decide whether it's okay or not. So that's how free speech works. You can say it, they can tell you they don't like it. That's the payoff. You can also make jokes about whatever you want, as long as it's funny, and as long as it's not coming from a place of hate, and as long as you're not punching down.
Completely agree.
Do I agree? Yeah. There are certain subjects that as a 40-year-old British white bloke, I won't do. That's not because I think I can't. It's because I think I'm not good enough to be able yet to write something that is clear what it's about. So I think when people write lazy, informed jokes and they come from a place of hate,
Mm.
Jeselnik says if it's coming from a place of hate, if you're attacking a minority group, of course they're not going to like it. So yeah, I think there are certain subjects that you have to have some self-awareness that you probably shouldn't write about,
Hmm.
um, and that's fine. And you should be aware enough. But if it's funny enough, and then it just can't come from a place of hate, and it needs to be funny.
Completely, completely agree.
The upper echelons are given. But that's always the challenge when you write about the Met and police brutality and the BBC.
Oh, well, you seem to have lost him for a second. Let's uh, oh, so we had a little internet thing, and we're back. We didn't. We as you know, we cut it because we were talking about pure genocide, those evil topics that weren't suitable for you. We're now back in a nice place. Joking, internet
Yeah,
shit. I so let's.
yeah. Do you know what? Because my answer is now about to go on about why I don't feel I can write jokes about what's going on in the Middle East at the moment. So you saying that about we were just talking about genocide in Julian?
Follow Q.
So yeah, writing stuff like when it's about like police brutality, is there's a fine line between highlighting police brutality and it appearing like you're taking the mickey out of the victims. So I will make sure I check enough with enough different people to say, is this coming across right or is it not? So it's a fine line, and then also like if I'm not well informed enough about it, I'm not going to get up and make any jokes about what's going on in Israel. And maybe I should research. I don't know enough to get up there to be able to make a joke that's informed, not from a place of hate. And also, war's not that funny. I don't know if you're aware. People dying, it's not that funny. It's not a huge amount of comedic value in people dying, allegedly.
And the risk isn't worth the reward on stage.
No, and what am I trying to do? I'm going there to try and entertain people, like that. It's not my place to start on that. So yeah, so there's certain subjects you can, certain subjects you can't, certain subjects you will be able to when you're better at it. But yeah, it's just making sure it comes from a place of hate and making sure it's fucking funny.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of funny, we've done 140 gigs now, just over a year. What is one joke you look back on and you think, why the fuck did I think that was funny? But at the time, you were like, oh, this is the greatest thing anyone's ever written.
Okay, so I've never thought anything I've written is the greatest thing anyone's ever written. But what do I look back on and think, why did I do that? Right, not so much the joke, but the structure of it.
Okay.
So I wrote this joke about, and I like the joke, and it's a good joke, and it still works, and it's still in my set, and it's about a workplace hookup, and it's based in a true story, and the ending of this story is it's kind of the reason that I ended up leaving that company because it was just very awkward after hooking up with my manager.
Okay.
And and whatever. And the first time I told the joke was shortly after I'd left, and I used her actual name in the joke.
Right. Okay.
At the end to say, well, it's not going to happen again this year, is it? Blah blah. Thinking, oh yeah, that's cool. That'll teach you. Da, 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 da. And I look back and think that was very childish and unprofessional. Like, it's fine if you want to do that in the pub, but if you want to be that came from a place of annoyance So yeah, that I look back and go, why did you think that was a good idea?
Mm.
Because I got off stage and was like, oh, that was brilliant. That's cool, isn't it? Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then I looked back and thought, you're just a prick, Lewis. Just makes you look like a prick. Um, so yeah, that probably that.
Okay. Yeah. I get that. I mean, I've had a bit of like a bad pass with an ex, and part of me wants to, say fuck you to the world, or when I'm famous, everyone's gonna look at you, and be like, "Ha, like you're an awful person." But then the juice isn't worth the squeeze. You just got to be better than that,
Yeah,
almost.
and we all fall foul of it sometimes, and it's
Of
quite
course,
often it's if we hurt, then we will do that. But when we sit down and think about it,
yeah.
do you know what? Why do you want to try and embarrass somebody else on stage? That says more about you than it does about them.
Yeah. No,
Um,
I agree, but everyone's human at the end of the day, and
yeah, we're all human, so we all make mistakes, and we all do it. But yeah, so that's probably the biggest thing. Like, because my mate who was with me, it was a bringer event actually, and he was my bringer.
oh,
Huh? And he
oh,
goes to me, no, no, he goes to me, because I'd said to him before, oh, I'm going to do this tonight. And he was like, you're not going to name her, are you? And I was like, might do. And he was like, that's not cool.
Hmm.
I was like, yeah, but it's funny though. And we got down and he went, feel proud of yourself, do you? Prick. So I was like, yeah. Hold on. And then there was a moment, realization driving home that actually, yeah, I did it because I was hurt. I didn't do it because it was funny. So it's when you allow emotions to take over, isn't it?
Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
so,
right then.
and I've seen that with comics as well. Um, well, when I say allow emotions, so we were talking earlier about comedy and people. So Paul Smith, lots of places you go now, Paul Smith and crowd work and stuff like that. So like Gary Knightley. Now I have put this on Facebook. This obviously isn't true, but I think Gary Knightley is. Paul Smith should have posters of Gary Knightley on his wall. That is how good at crowd work Gary Knightley is. Absolute master, and he has the ability to this faux anger. This like, I mean, he looks like Brian Blessed if you ordered him off Temu. And so he can come across as like this fake anger and he call people on and whatnot, and everybody loves him. Like they think because he is so good. But that the crowd realizing that you're not really angry, but he plays it so well. He's an absolute master. I went with me, him, and Duncan Hart went up and did Luke Harrow's gig up in Peterborough a couple of months ago. A nice little gig, and it was so Duncan and I did okay. So Duncan opened. That's always the hardest spot, isn't
Yeah.
it, to open?
Yeah.
I might be misremembering. I'm pretty sure he opened. We didn't die, but it was a tough run. It was still light outside. It was in a conservatory. It wasn't the fullest. It was very warm, and so we did okay. That's it. Level is okay is about as best we're getting. So Duncan and I are chatting like, oh, it's a tough room, Okay, yeah, fairly pleased with that. Gary gets up there, smashes the shit out of it, and me and Duncan are like, and he's a good friend of ours, Gary anyway. And I'm going, oh, he's a prick, and he prick. It's like he just has that ability to just draw what, and it's the crowd work, and that's what, like that is just something you can't teach. You just have to learn that. I think he got a round of applause for saying something about a 50-year-old woman's vagina, and he got an applause break for it. And it's like if I'd have said it, I got punched in the face, but he just has this aura about him, which is fucking annoying, but he's brilliant.
And that's involved. How important would you say practicing and learning crowd work is to a new comic?
Um, Depends what type of comedian you want to be. Anthony Jeselnik doesn't do any crowd work, hates it.
Yeah.
Paul Smith apparently can't write any jokes. Only does crowd work. No, I'm only joking. It's just he only posts the crowd work online, doesn't he? I'm only joking, Paul. Not that you're listening, but maybe in the future. So I think it depends what type of comic you want to be. I think it is a part of comedy. I think with the advent of so many comics posting stuff online, crowd work wise,
Mm.
new fans of comedy arrive thinking that comedy is crowd work.
Yeah. Do you think that it has done a negative for like people heckling comedians?
I don't think that, no, it's getting people to like to support live comedy. Who are
100%.
you or I or anyone to decide what is right or wrong? It's not done made it negative, it's just changed it. So it's just different. You know, what was posted online years ago, you get Tommy Cooper doing a joke that he's got wrong type thing, and that was the stuff that was posted. Now it's crowd work that's posted online. So is it negative? No, because it's getting a new audience into the industry that we love. And look, am I good at crowd work? No, but raised as a Jehovah's Witness, knocking on somebody's door at 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning to talk to them about Jesus. If you're going to shout out, "I'm a prick" when I'm on stage, hey, come on,
Yeah.
I'll be better. Like, we might not be good at it, but it ain't going to derail me.
No,
It genuinely don't bother me.
I did cold calling for 2 years. Like, so yeah,
That's what I mean. Yeah.
when
So,
you
so
call every
what,
name under the
nothing you're
sun,
going to
it
say
doesn't.
to me here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah. It don't matter. Yeah.
I'm more worried about not having anything to say back than them heckling me. Do you know what I mean? They can call me whatever they want. I don't care. I'm just more worried about not having something to say back on the spot.
Okay. So, one thing, this was, I can't remember, I think it was Gary, or it might have been Duncan that gave me this advice, was if someone heckles you, pause, repeat what they've said. Now, the official reason apparently for repeating what they've said is so everybody can hear what they've said,
Mhm.
so that they know it. But what it actually does is it gives you time to think about what you're going to say. You look at when
Okay.
Jimmy Carr does his crowd work stuff, there's sometimes 50 seconds between the heckle
Mhm.
and his response.
I mean, he does the
And
laugh
people
as
still think
well.
it's a genius.
The laugh also buys
Yeah.
time.
So laugh, ask them to repeat it. You then repeat it so everyone's heard it. Then you ain't got to be that quick because you've just taken 19 minutes to think of something. So that's the advice that I was given.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
good mechanism.
but yeah, but also the point of repeating it is so that if you just quip something back, if half the crowd haven't heard it, you're not going to know. They're not going to know. But yeah, it actually just gives you thinking time, doesn't it?
That is,
Um,
that is true. I think the worst ones though when they say something and then they don't repeat it.
yeah,
You know?
yeah, no, yeah. So yeah, you just go, oh, all right, um, or I did this gig in Welling, and it was probably one of my worst gigs. It was the first kind of like bear pit. Do you understand what I mean by bear pit gig?
Yeah.
So working class pub. It was payday in January. It was a state pub.
Mm.
They'd not really had comedy there before. It was full. Lots of people were on in the audience were on allegedly some illegal substances. Right.
Yeah.
So jaws are swinging all over the place. Now that and you know, so they think that so some fella just kept heckling now. He was clearly off his nut.
Yeah.
And obviously you're always the funniest person in the room if you're on a bit of gear, apparently, aren't you? Um
Not that I know, but yeah.
that's what I mean. Yeah, I said apparently, yeah. But they and in the end he just kept doing and I you couldn't really understand him. And so all I just said back was, look, mate, I think someone's replaced your Coke with Ket because nobody's understanding. Your jaw is swinging all over the place. Now, my material had pretty much died, but they loved that. So sometimes audiences just want to be called a prick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if the heckle's that good, just go, fair play, mate.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, courses like the, not James Ben Vandervelde. Right. Did you ever used to watch Burnt Face Man as a kid? Have you ever seen the cartoon online Burnt Face Man?
No, I haven't. I haven't.
It is probably what you would class as anti-comedy, but as a teenager, me and my brother absolutely loved it. But Burnt Face Man, so he's a superhero with a burnt face. He's a rubbish superhero, but he's obsessed with James Van Der Beek,
Okay.
and so yeah, I keep calling Ben Vandervelde James Van Der Beek. So yeah, but his crowd work and clowning course. So I've done part one. I'm doing part two tonight. Just courses like that. Um, I think Gary's going to start running MC courses. You've got obviously Jeff, whatever runs his. So sometimes I mean I haven't done a huge amount of courses, but if it's something you're nervous about, just talk to people who are better at it than you. Ask them what to do.
Yeah.
And then like heckling, I think it depends. So one of the things with the gigs that we were running, we found that only like 12% of the applicants were female.
Okay.
So we put out this anonymous survey, which was like, help us to like, what can we do to be better? Like it help us to, what are we not doing? And there was lots of, it was eye opening. But one of the things was about being aware if the heck, because we run a number of working class gigs, and I'm not saying it's any, but you will get slightly more heckles there because you're not on a stage, you're in a pub,
More
all on the
boisterous.
level. Yeah, and it's some of the feedback was obviously you're not going to just stop hecklers, and you wouldn't just stop people heckling female comics because that in itself would be misogynistic. They're perfectly capable, everybody, yeah, but it was making sure that someone is aware that's part of the team. Are these people heckling them just because they're women and stepping in? So I do think there's got to be a fine line because there are some pricks out there. I mean, and anyone who says women aren't funny has clearly never heard of Laura Lex because she is fucking probably the best MC in the country. But some blokes will just heckle because it's a woman on stage, and so it's trying. One of the things was making sure we're trying to be aware, like if they're just being because it's a female to step in. So I think there is a fine line between heckling's okay, but being a prick isn't.
Well, that's just general rules for society. Don't be a prick.
So it's challenging, isn't it? And
How
why are
are
you
they?
going to a show to see people perform? Yeah, don't be a prick.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think
we
a
can
lot
fix
of
most
it.
problems in the world if we just.
I think a lot of it is
Huh?
insecurity. I think a lot
Oh
of it
yeah,
is
yeah. Just don't be a prick.
insecurity
Yeah,
because
just don't be a prick.
they haven't got the balls to go up on stage themselves.
And do you know who Laura Lex is? Are you aware of Laura Lex?
I'm not, no, but I've had a lot of female comedians on this podcast, and like I was saying, like I was
No.
talking to one comedian, and it was only last year they took off Netflix female comedians as a category. It's like, why does it need to be its own segmentation? Women are funny. Whoever says they're not needs to, like, you might say some of the things a lot of women might joke about might not relate to you, and comedy might not be relatable, but you can't take away the comedic aspect
Yeah.
of it.
So the comedy we do won't be relatable to women in the audience. They potentially with that argument, isn't it? So
Yeah.
it's yeah. The comedy's subjective. Like there's certain people I find funny that you won't, and vice versa. And I hate the phrase "they're not funny." The phrase is "I don't find them funny," which is you're allowed. You're allowed to not find somebody funny. But no, the reason I bang about Laura Alexis because we were talking about crowd work. But look her up. She's and a number of drunk or coked up blokes will go to the gigs and they try, and she is a master. She's so good. Absolutely brilliant at putting people in their place. My favorite clip that she's got online is about when there's a police officer in the audience and he's being a prick and he clearly thinks he's funnier than her, and she just ruins him. There are some very funny women, there are some very funny men, very funny non-binary trans people, and there's some not funny people in all of those categories as well. I would say the percentage of funny and non-funny is probably the same, whatever you identify as.
I do think it's quite funny that there are some professions where no matter what, it's not punching down. A lawyer, a banker, a policeman. There's
Yeah.
almost no such thing as punching down because people don't like them professions.
Yeah, but
But if
that's
someone's a
because they are
nurse, you're not going to punch down. You know what I mean?
no, those professions you've mentioned, they are
Recruitment.
They are generally people that view that they're better than anyone else, don't they? Or they domineer control over the lower classes, don't they?
Yeah.
Um, the politicians one's always challenging because 99% of the time it's punching up,
Hmm.
but there will be times where you have to be careful. So that one's always the one that makes is a challenge. Um, uh, like Diane Abbott, she says some stupid things, but I've heard comedians do bits about her, which they're clearly only doing because they have some racist thoughts. So they're not doing the funny stuff. So there's just situations where you have to be careful and you have to think, why am I writing this joke? Um, but then it's in Ben Van der Velde's course. You got what? So Jimmy Carr, he's high society comic, so he punches down, but in a way he's not. Then you've got like a Mickey Flanagan, who's like your working class. So that you got to figure out your comedy persona, haven't you? Your comedy voice, comedic voice. That didn't really answer your question. That was more of a spoon story. It didn't have a fucking point, did it? Sorry about that.
Absolutely, absolutely fine, bro. So, okay, I like asking this question. What is the worst thing you've seen someone do on stage to date?
Um, Young-ish white lad in London. Thought he was edgy, but his set was just clearly from a place of it was just homophobic, transphobic, and he offered as a joke to sexually assault two young female members in the crowd. It was the most horrific thing I've ever seen, and I will have never ever applied for. I don't think he runs any gigs anymore, but yeah,
What,
you wasn't expecting it to be that serious, were you? um,
he runs gigs or went to perform at a gig?
I don't believe so. He does anymore. He's definitely involved in running a number of gigs. It was absolutely horrific.
I, I mean,
And the answer is no. I can't name him because
obviously,
it's
I
yeah
never want names.
no. But yeah, it was horrific, horrific, and it was one of the trigger things that made us kind of like, right, what can we do to look? We're all going to get shit wrong, not to that level, but to get more women to make it feel safer, to make them want to, because we're things like that mean we could miss out on generational talent
Yeah.
because they don't feel safe to apply, and then that would be a travesty in itself.
I mean, did he try it from? Okay, I'm not defending
No, no, no.
anyway.
You can ask
I'm
me.
playing devil's advocate here. Did
Yeah,
he try it from a comedic angle, or was it just being a prick?
he's just a prick.
Yeah, then yeah.
That's the answer.
Did he come off stage being like, "Oh, tough crowd," or was it
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I fucked up"?
So that he wasn't running that gig. The guy that was running that gig posted on Instagram the next day saying, "This person is no longer welcome at any of our gigs."
Oh, I respect that. I respect
Yeah,
that so
respect that.
much.
But
Yeah.
then the person that done it posted, "Oh, he just doesn't get it. It's comedy."
Oh,
And it's like, nah, mate, you're a city next Tuesday, pal.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
But some people are just not like, but any industry you're in, there's pricks, isn't there?
yeah. I mean,
Like,
I don't get the agenda on that. Like, well, like if you say something on stage, it's got to have a purpose. It's got to be funny. Like,
but then but it's some people aren't, so they just try and use
some people are just
edgy
James
as a,
Blunts.
huh?
Some people are just James Blunts.
Yeah, yeah, they are, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
But
go on, we'll bring it back to yourself then. Have we done any competitions over the time,
uh,
and how have they gone? Any gong shows?
yeah, yeah. So my first gong show was for Chuckle in Huntingdon.
Yep.
Um, so I'd never been to a gong show before, never seen one. And basically it was probably two seasons, about 170, 200, but the winner gets the Chuckle Mania belt and spots on pro gigs and stuff like that. I got pulled out of the hat first. Um, didn't really listen to the instructions because I was too nervous.
Mm.
So I thought that if you went over 5 minutes, you were disqualified. I
Okay.
thought if you got 3 cards, you were disqualified. President of Bonjo was the MC. Have you come across a Bonjo yet?
Not yet. No, as I'm fairly new.
Brilliant.
So
Yeah, yeah, no, I wondered if you'd seen him. Absolutely brilliant. I think he lives in St Albans. Great guy. Um, um, Maybe he should have explained it slightly better as well, but no, it's my fault. So I get up. It was just when Jermaine Genius had been sacked from Match of the Day.
okay, yeah,
So
cool.
I'd got this bit about he'd been sacked because he was messaging colleagues asking if they wanted to see his BBC. So it was going quite well. I'd had no cards, which you tend not to get anyway. They always tend to be a bit nicer if you're up first. Did it, 4 minutes 47. Thank you very much, and left. So got disqualified.
Oh.
Gonged myself off. So that's probably the most embarrassing moment I've had. Other competitions wise, again, I think competitions are wank, really, aren't they? A lot of them are
Subjective. They're subjective, and it's
subjective.
who you've got
Yeah.
on the night.
Who you got on the night? If it's audience vote, who's got the most friends, which I would never win, and stuff like that. So currently, what I've got at the minute, I'm in the semi-finals of the Dutch Barn Spirit of Comedy Ricky Gervais one.
So that Ricky Gervais's one, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'm in the semi-final, 28th of August, Just a Tonic in Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
18th of September. So I am in British Comedian of the Year. I accidentally entered it.
Wow.
I entered that competition by accident. So we'd just done Andy Stedman's workshop.
Mm-hmm.
So just kind of got on his radar. Fantastic guy to get on his radar. Really nice bloke as well. Runs a stand-up club at Piccadilly, London Bridge, and other venues. And if anybody's watching this, I'm at Piccadilly this Friday and Saturday. So £18. Got Daniel Cohen's on as well, who is the sexiest cigar. Fucking hell. He's the sexiest cigar smoking motherfucker I've ever met, and he's quite funny. And so he runs 2 competitions. That Andy Stedman. One is British Comedian of the Year, which is £10,001 for the prize.
Okay.
And then he does Get Up, Stand Up, which is the new act competition. So I was on the website having a look at when the gigs were and stuff like that, and it said entries closed tonight. Now, one thing Andy respects and looks for is self-awareness. If you are applying for headlines for closed spots at Piccadilly at the stand-up club and you haven't even got a 7, he doesn't like people who are deluded. Have a bit of self-awareness. So bear in mind, I'm a year in. I thought I was applying for Get Up, Stand Up. But because I leave everything to the last minute and don't really pay much attention, and it said entries closed tonight. So I just clicked on it and I was like, oh, fuck, I better enter this. Click submit. Email comes back. Thank you for entering British Comedian of the Year. We will review and let you know if you've been successful. And I was like, shit. I was like, I've just done my first gig for this guy, and he's banged on about having some self-awareness. I'm a year in, and I've entered British Comedian of the Year, like a knobhead. So I've emailed him, and I'm like, Andy, due to lacking basic intelligence, I've accidentally entered the wrong competition. I'm not deluded. Please, can you discard my entry? And a couple of days later, he emailed me back, and he's like all right, Lewis, no, you can enter it if you want. I'll put you on.
Good lads.
You'll be fine. So he put me on there, so I'm on there. So come watch me September the 18th, die on my ass.
That's brilliant. So I always like to end it with my favourite question. It's a 2-parter. What has been your favourite moment on stage, and what time did we bomb the hardest?
Okay, my favourite moment in comedy was about 3 months ago when it was a Saturday afternoon, and my 2 daughters, Layla and Neve, found a PA kit in the garage, and we put on our own open mic show in the living room to their teddies. That is
Oh,
better than anything I've ever done. But we did have to redo the entire set because I was emceeing and Pikachu was being a prick. So I
I
called
was
him a
about to
prick.
say, what's the worst
Yeah,
heckle you got from
yeah,
who?
yeah. Pikachu was being a prick.
Oh. I
So I
mean, he is
called
a
him a prick.
prickish Pokemon in general, refusing to
Exactly, yeah,
evolve.
giving it all
But
that. So
yeah,
we then had to stop and redo the whole set, and I wasn't allowed to do any crowd work.
oh,
Um, so great gig if you don't like crowd work. So yeah,
that's
no,
so wholesome, dude. That is so wholesome. I
the
love
best
that.
thing. Uh, I mean, the actual answer outside of that is I don't know. Probably, I mean, winning Belper's Search for a Rising Star against other comics that were clearly better than me. It just everything hit that night. I was on
Yeah,
first after the break. Everything hit, so that felt good. But it doesn't. I'm definitely not better than the other Bills, the other acts on that night. Worst. I did a little coffee shop slash shisha bar in Soho. It was a bringer type, stayer type, badly organized thing. Nobody there had a guy come up to me afterwards and says, "You might be funny, but I don't know who Keir Starmer is." I
true.
died on my ass. Nobody knew anything about the news, which is fine. I didn't read the room properly.
Mm.
Did a load of lefty topical political stuff without tying it back in. And there's people looking at me going, "What the hell's going on?" But that made me realise that I need to have. It's not. I don't. They don't have to know what's going on in the news. I have to have enough material to be able to tailor it to whether they watch the news or not.
Mm. Yeah.
That was horrific death. That was.
Happens to the best of us. And so, Lewis, I'll end it with this. If there's anybody watching this and they're well, hopefully there is, but if there's anyone watching this who hasn't done comedy before and they're contemplating getting on stage for the first time, what advice would you give them?
um, if they contact, come to. If you're nervous about it, come to work. So whether it be Arts Comedy Workshop or one of the others in London, meet some people first. Um, apply for an open mic. Um, tell people it's your first gig because if you get a lot of love if you tell people it's your first gig.
Mm.
Have a go, but don't expect a direct correlation between being funny in the pub to being funny on stage. It is. It's not that easy. You're gonna die more times than you don't. Um, but when you drop a punchline and it works and you get an applause or you get a laugh, it's amazing. It's the closest feeling to being a rock star than being without being a rock star. Even if there's only three people in the audience,
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. But yeah, ask questions, find people, and listen to advice is what I would give. That's what I'd say.
I completely agree. It's the most euphoric feeling in the world when
Yeah.
you're there and everyone's listening to you. You get an applause. It's just yet to have it, but I'm sure it's good.
Hey. Yeah, I've seen it happen a couple of times. I've seen it happen a couple of times.
I bring my own voice audio for the crowd.
And
Lewis,
even that fucking boos you.
Pikachu was in the fucking stands.
Yeah.
Lewis, mate, it's been brilliant. Thank you ever so much for coming on the show, dude.
Cheers, Dan. All right, see you later,
Thank
mate.
you.